Hi, welcome back to the Frontend Instinct. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build this sleek and responsive landing page using React and SASS. So here on my screen, I'm going to show you the Figma files of this project, and this project named WebSpot is my one of my old designs that I uploaded, I believe, in my repository. And I also designed this in Figma way back 2021, so that's already 4 years, I believe. And yeah, so let me just show you here the desktop tab. So here is my old design, and then here is my redesigned version of WebSpot. So WebSpot is basically a dummy company that I created. So this is a design agency, I believe, where this company is do some services for different businesses. Yeah, so here is the comparison of the design from my 2021 version and then 2024 version. So let me just zoom in a little bit so that you can see some of the differences. So as you can see, there's a lot of changes happened. I added some new section that I believe would really improve the design of the project, and I also rearranged some of the section and put it on the uh, uh, area where it should, I think, be best to displayed. All right, so here's the footer, and as you can see, this footer here on the redesigned version is much smaller, but I believe it is cleaner compared to the old one. So this was my design uh, way back 2021, where I also just starting to learn Figma and exploring about UI UX design. So I also created the responsive version. So this is the mobile version of that. So if you follow along in this tutorial, I'm going to provide you the resources and files that you need. Okay, so as you can see here, here is the mobile version. This is the accordion, and then this is the CTA email and the footer. So I also prepared the resources tab here. So in case you want to follow along in this course, so here in the resources tab, you can download the important assets that I have in the tutorial, like this image. This is SVG, by the way, and also this logo. So as you can see, compared to my previous version, I used some company logos here, but for professional improvement, I use some placeholder logo so that it wouldn't have an issue. By the way, shout out to the companies who is the real owner of this logo. I'm just using it for content. So yeah, so here is the Figma files and then the resources. So anything, any important logos that you need here, you can just download it on this tab, and about logos, and then of course the social logos. But I'm also gonna be using some other resources, so maybe you won't need to use it. But if you have other social icons library that you can use, you can do so. So Let me just show you the website version. So here's the website version, and as you can see, everything that we have in the Figma is also applied here. And here's one thing in building this website. So I created this simple accordion so that we have some extra functionality to apply in this tutorial. And yeah, okay, so here are some things that you have to prepare before we're going to start on this project. Of course, I put here the React.js documentation because we're using React on this project. And aside from React, by the way, when I'm going to do the project, probably will be mentioning some of the basic React concepts. And I believe if you need to learn more of it, like for example use state, use effect, some of those you can check it here on the React documentation on how that really works. And aside from React, also gonna be used this SASS. So here's the documentation for SASS. And if you want to install new from SASS and you want to install it from your application, you can just go here in this documentation. By the way, I'm not going to do this installation because I have already SASS in my PC. So I'm going to do is just install it on my project. Okay, so here, and also aside from SASS, we're going to use Vite for our build tool. But of course, if you're already familiar with Create React App or CRA, you can do so. It's just the same. It's just like I'd like to use Vite because it's faster and cleaner. So yeah, we're going to use Vite for our build tool to set up. Okay. All right. So to start on in this project, I'm gonna be doing some command line stuff. I'll be using CMD. You can use any other tools in your PC like Git Bash or PowerShell, or yeah, CMD itself. But if you're using Mac OS, you can just use the terminal itself. All right, so here I'm gonna type in cd desktop. So cd means change directory. So in this part, I just selecting the path where I'm going to put the project. So in this part, you can also do your own selection if you have some preferred location where you want to build your project. All right, so here in my desktop, I also have another folder called tutorial. So cd tutorials, enter. So here, this is where I start to run the command from Vite. So here, as you can see, I'm gonna type in npm create Vite at latest. So hit enter, and then we're going to type our project name. So here I'm gonna name webspot-v2-tutorial. So hit enter. So in the project name, you can also create your own name. It's your option, guys. Okay, so here, this is we're going to select our framework, and since we're using React, so we're gonna select React. And then we're not going to do TypeScript, but plain JavaScript. Okay, so yeah, that's it. and then inside the tutorial, so we can just enter our project, cd web spot, and then enter, and then type in code dot, so that you'll be able to open your code editor. All right, so here is my code editor. Yes, I trust the authors. So here I'm gonna close this command cmd now, because we're not going to need it. So here is the basic files that you can see when you're using Vite. But if you're using CRA or Create React app, it's also different. So they have a different setup. But anyway, they will be working fine as long as you're familiar on their build tool. Okay. So here, this is the source file, but we're gonna need to do another command line to start our project. Okay, so here I'm going to open a new terminal. So this terminal is inside of my VS Code, but you can also use other terminals if you don't want to open terminals inside the VS Code. Okay, so I'm gonna type in npm install, so that we can add the dependencies of this project. So it's very important, because if you don't do this, your project is not going to work. So as you can see here, we have the node modules. If you already see this node modules in your code, that's already that means that your project is ready. So I'm gonna type in npm run dev, so that we can see if it is going to start. So as you can see, it gave us this localhost 5173. So this is the plain template from Vite and React. So it has this logos, headers, and then simple counter to make sure that our app is working pretty fine. Okay, so next is we're going to clean up these files and start setting up our SASS. All right, guys, so before we start, let me just clean up some things here. So I'm gonna close this, and then this one, and then let's start on cleaning up our files first. So here in our source, we have a few files inside. We have the app.js and the main.js. So these two important files is you don't need to delete this. All right, but here in our app, we're going to remove all of this element, and then replace it with some h1, and then test web spot. So I'm gonna hit save, and then let's see. All right, so it's working, and let me just put it here on the right side and the code here on the left side. All right, so that you can see when we're going to do some changes, we can see already the reflect in the changes. Okay, so here in our main.js, we don't need to actually change something here, but here in the CSS files, we're going to delete this too. So don't worry if you encounter some errors in your code. That is fine. Also here in the assets, we're going to delete this react.spg. So here is the error that you can see. So how can we fix that? In our app.js, we can just remove this import, and then this variable const, and then the use date. We can also remove this app.css because, like I said, we're going to use SASS to style our components. So here in main.js, we can see anything because as you can see in the import, it's trying to find index.css, but it's not available already. So I'm gonna remove that and then hit save. So as you can see, we have now the very plain React application here. Okay, so here on the source folder, I'm going to create a folder called styles. So this is where we're going to put all our SASS files. So inside the styles, I'm gonna create main.css. So this main.css is the one that holds our all styles. So basically, when we write CSS codes from SASS, it's not the computer cannot read it directly. So we need to transform it in a code that our computer can understand it, or basically we can transform it into a CSS file, or I mean a CSS readable code. Okay, so technically your PC cannot read SASS file. Okay, so here in the styles folder, I'm going to create main.sass. So this is where we're going to put our CSS codes. Okay, so here in our styles folder, I'm gonna hit right click and then open in integrated terminal. So here in terminal, I'm going to do some commands. So sass -- watch main.sass and then colon main.css. So this command means we're going to watch our changes in main.sass and then convert it into plain CSS. So when I hit save on this, and as you can see, it says compiled main.sass to main.css. And if you observe the styles folder, we have a main.css map. So you don't need to worry about this file, because as long as it is here on your styles folder, everything's going to work. And here is your main.css. So let's try to do some changes in our main.css. So I'm gonna put it here on the right side, and then here the main.css on the left side. But before that, in our main.js, we're going to import here our main.css. Like I said, your PC or your PC cannot read directly codes on SASS, but rather your codes on CSS. That's why we need to compile everything that we type in here on the main.sass, so that your computer can understand it in the main.css, which is the language that understand by your computer. Okay, so I hope it makes sense to you guys. Here in our main.css, I'm gonna type in import, and we don't need to put some variables because this is just CSS. So I'm gonna type in / and then in our styles, we're going to find main.css. So here when I hit save, we can see anything, but if you notice here on the main.css, and if I try to style our main.sass, let's say I'm gonna target the h1, which is this text, and then let's say we're going to change the color to red. So when I hit save, as you can see, in our browser, the H1 turns red, and this is the code of the SASS file, and then this is the code of your CSS. So every time we're going to put some changes on our SASS, it will reflect here on our main.css. So I'm gonna hit save again, as you can see. So basically, main.sass is just converting itself to main.css. All right. So the next thing that we are going to need to do is to manage our SASS file first. So this is my practice before I start on my project, because I want to manage all the styles first before I do the front end. Okay, so here in our styles, I'm going to put some folders here. So I'm gonna type in global. So this global is where I put the global CSS, and then inside the global, I'm gonna type global. I'm gonna add a new file called global.sass. Let's go up in the styles again, and I'm gonna name this folder queries. So these queries will store some of the major queries that we're going to use to make our site responsive. So for example, I'm gonna create a new file called sm-600pixel.sass. So anything that we're going to change in 600 pixel below, we'll put it right here. That's an example of that. And this will be we can add also few files in the future. I'm just putting some files here. And the next is components. So I'm gonna create a folder called components. So this is where I'm going to targeted reusable components and put it right here. So for example, I have button components. So let's say buttons.sass. Then yeah, that's just an example. Okay, so the next thing inside the global, I'm going to add another file called vars.sass. So vars.sass, this is where I'm going to store reusable variables in my style. This is one of the best practice that you can do as a front end. So in order for you to not to type in some of the basic styles like colors, typography, you can just store it in variables and then call it in anywhere of your files or SAS files. You can just call it. But yeah, I'll explain it also later. So yeah, that's basically all of it. And along the tutorial, we're going to add a few more files here in the components. The global is okay. The queries, we're going to add some files too in the future. So make sure that you will follow along and in this tutorial. Okay, so the next thing is we need to connect all of these files inside a single file that will transform into main.css. How can we do that? So here in the main.sass, this is where I put some testing if the styles that we change is already converted into simple CSS. Now, this main.css, this is where we connect all of our SAS files so that our main.css will just look at this main and then transform everything into plain CSS. Here's what we can do. In our main.sass, we're going to import all of these files. Okay, so let's start on typing at import and then the path. So here, when I type in /, SAS is intelligent enough to give you a code suggestion. So here I'm gonna put global and then vars. So next I'm gonna copy it, and then after the vars, global. Okay, so as you can see, our text turned into black text again, but we can test it again later. So next is we will connect the components. Okay, so at import / components buttons. So I think we need to put it here first, and then next is probably our media queries. So I'm gonna put media queries in the last part, because this is where we are applying few changes when the device reaches some of the media queries, like 800 pixels below, 600 pixels below, something like that. Okay, so here I'm gonna type in /queries /sm-600 pixel. All right, so that's how can you connect your SAS files into one main SAS. So basically, everything that we are changing here on all of these files, it will be compiled and then translated into main.css. So let's start again changing something on our global. So here, this is one of my standard in starting a small project. So I always do CSS cleanup. So here I'm going to target all of the basic elements inside the CSS, like here HTML, and then I'm gonna remove some margin 0, and then I'm also going to remove padding 0, then box dash sizing, border box. So next is we're going to target again the H1 that we did earlier. So here I'm gonna, let's say font color is red. So as you can see, when I hit save, it's now translated into main.css, and it's also reflected here on our live version. So that's just the simple setup of our styles, and then we're going to also set up the file system for our React. So what are the things that we're going to add? So here in the CSS folder, I'm gonna create components. So I hope you're familiar with components. So React is a component reliable framework. So which where you're building your projects into a smaller chunk of component, and then combine them together to work into a simple application. Like for example, this one, I have I have a hero section here. So if I'm going to componentize this, I'm going to create a component for navigation, for hero, and then this image. So this is where I'm going to do. That's why we need to create the folder for components so that we can manage our component files in the future. And this component is different on style/component. All right, this component will hold our React component. Okay, so after that, inside the source folder again, I'm gonna add a new folder called constants, and then I'm gonna add index.js. So this constants folder, this is where I create some variables to store a data that we're going to let's say we're going to display in our component. So I will explain it to you later what's the purpose of this constant folder, but yeah, that's basically all of it. So here, the assets, this is where are we going to put all of our assets images. As you can see here in the design, this is all that images and logos. So straightforward, we can just put it all right here in the assets. All right, so now our setup is ready, and in the next video we're going to start the development of this UI.